Hey y'all, in this lesson we are looking at solving two-step inequalities. So we want to be able to write and solve two-step inequalities. Our big picture for this lesson, like two-step equations, solving two-step inequalities involves carrying out two different operations, such as addition or subtraction and multiplication or division. Unlike two-step equations, though, which have a single solution, two-step inequalities have multiple solutions since they are an inequality. Our essential question for you to write in your notes is, how is solving a two-step inequality similar to and different from solving a two-step equation? Let's take a look with our first example. Hamish has $25.97 in his pocket to spend at the craft store. He wants to buy a paint canvas and some paint pens. How many paint pens can Hamish buy? Well, we want to write an inequality to represent this situation. We have some money, and however much we spend has to be less than or equal to the amount of money we have. So in this case, whatever our cost is on the left is less than or equal to 25.97, the money we have. The cost of the canvas is straight out one cost, which we can see from the picture is $14. He only wants to buy one. Then the cost for the paint pens depends on how many paint pens he buys. So we have the cost of one pen, which is $3.15, times the number of pens he would need to buy. So we have this. The cost of the canvas is 14. The cost of a pen times whatever number of pens is less than or equal to 25.97. Let's now take a look at solving this inequality. As we solve the inequality, we want to draw a line down the center. This helps us know what side we need to do everything. The first thing we are doing is we are subtracting 14 to get rid of this 14. We use the division property of inequality to then divide by 3.15. This will isolate p so that we end up with p is less than or equal to 3.8. We get this 3.8 because 25.97 minus 14 is 11.97, and divided by 3.15 gets us 3.8. We can graph this on a number line like so, where we have a closed dot since we have or equal to. That closed dot is at about 3.8, a little bit less than 4. And we are shaded to the left because we are less than. We could have this number line stop at 0 because he's not going to buy less than 0 pens. Only whole numbers are actual solutions to the scenario because we won't buy 0.8 of a pen. And so when we write our answer, he can buy 3 or fewer paint pens. He can't buy 4 because that doesn't work with our inequality. And from there, it has to be whole numbers. So he can buy 1, 2, or 3 or fewer. Here is a problem that is similar for you to try. Erin has $52 to spend at the florist. She wants to buy a vase for $11.75 and several roses for $3.50 each. What are the possible number of roses Erin can buy? So they've put in the R. You need to fill in the cost of the vase and the cost of the roses. Think about, can this be more than 52? Or is it less than 52? Could it be equal to 52? Make sure you solve by subtracting and dividing to get what is the number of roses. And keep in mind that roses are going to be whole numbers. So make sure you give a whole number answer. Example 2, solving inequalities with negative values. We can see here that we have a negative 10 and minus 9 halves. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing is that we want to do is add 10 to both sides. This is because we have a negative 10 and we need to get rid of it. When we do that, we end up with negative 9 halves x is less than 90 because 80 plus 10 is 90. Now we multiply by the reciprocal. So instead of multiplying by 9 over 2, we're multiplying by 2 over 9. This gets our x alone. 90 times 2 over 9 is negative 20. And because we multiplied by a negative number, we go from less than to a greater than symbol. Notice that, as it is important, when dividing or multiplying by a negative number, you have to reverse the inequality symbol. Here is a problem for you to try. We have x is multiplying the negative 1/2 and then adding 5. This is adding 5 because it's positive. How do you undo that? To summarize this short lesson, like two-step equations, solving two-step inequalities involves carrying out two different operations, addition or subtraction, and multiplication or division. However, unlike two-step equations, which have a single solution, two-step inequalities have multiple solutions, such as any number less than 5 or any number greater than 3. Your next steps are to complete your notes and turn them into Schoology, complete the Build 2.3, and take your 2.3 mastery check. Then continue on to the final lesson. Good luck!